welcome back to another episode of the She Strong podcast, where we celebrate women for their strength and resilience and for all walks of life. I am your host, Portia, and today I have another guest. Yay! I have here Danielle. She is oh my goodness, Army vet.
I am. Yes,
Okay,
Army Vet.
she
Yes.
is an Army vet, and she is also the founder and author of Sunset Soul.
Yes, that is correct.
And it is a brand dedicated to helping women find their purpose and uplifting women. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk also a little bit about grief and healing through grief, and also how she has found that fitness has helped her heal and get through troubling times. So thank you so much, Danielle, for being here.
Thank you for having
No
me.
problem. Your
Pleasure.
first podcast is She
Yeah, it
Strong.
is.
Uh,
Going strong.
Going strong, going strong. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit of
Okay.
background on you.
Okay, so as she said, I am Danielle. I am a proud Army veteran. My background is in human development and family studies, family
Mhm.
life educator. I like to say that because it's my foundation.
Okay.
So that's where I got my start with community outreach and things such as that. I've been all around the world. I always like to say that. So I have a lot of experiences with different cultures and all those things. And my love for fitness began with my mom. She had a fitness group that she was a part of. Growing up, I watched her. So it's always been in me.
Mm-hmm.
And hence, when I realized that mind, body, and soul, as we all know, it connects one with another. So I developed my love
Absolutely.
for fitness
Nice.
early on.
Tell us about Sunset Soul.
Oh, that's my baby.
Okay.
So, Sunset Soul, it is a book dedicated to my mother. I recently lost my mom November 2023, and it devastated me. And I'm still devastated. But as the days went by, I realized that I had to keep going. I watched my mom pass. What I realize now through Sunset Soul is that it was beautiful. So I always like to say, if you've watched a sunset, surely you've seen a sunrise. And when you
Yes.
watch a sunset, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
When you observe it, as it goes down, it's beautiful, it's peaceful. So that's my title, and that's where I came about Sunset Soul. Sunset Soul is um when the clouds get dark, they can light up again. It's about finding your peace in grief, finding
Mhm.
your way, reaching out, all the things, all the tools that you need to get through. And I'm building a community. So it's not only that you could have lost anyone. Grief comes in many different ways.
Mhm.
You could relocate and you could grieve your previous location. You can leave a job. You can grieve that. So it's a building a community, uplifting, enlightening, and also keeping that mind body connection and not losing yourself physically. Hence
Yeah.
why we love fitness as much as we
Right.
do the psychological part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I'm so sorry to hear about your mom.
Thank you.
Losing a parent, I know, is tough losing anyone, but especially a parent. It's really amazing that you've turned your pain into a purpose, not only for yourself, but for other people. You've shared
Yes.
that um, with a community, and you're helping so many women heal. So I really thank you, because that takes a lot um, to do something like that.
It
So thank
does.
you. Thank you so much
You're
for that.
welcome.
Tell me about how you discovered fitness and wellness. First of all, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
What is the difference between what would be your definition for wellness as opposed to the typical just fitness approach?
Okay. So my definition of wellness and what I've discovered is wellness is full circle. Wellness is the people we have around us. Are
Hmm.
they well? Are they well themselves? Literally. Are they good for you? Wellness means, are you in the job or career field that you like? We spend a lot of time in our career fields, so a lot of that, it shapes us.
Hmm.
Wellness is definitely your lifestyle choices, doing the things that you want to do, trying new things,
Hmm.
um, discovering new things, and just always pushing yourself to the next level, being mentally strong.
Nice, mentally strong. Okay, because I think sometimes we kind of mesh like fitness,
Hmm.
because I think fitness is like the physical
Yes.
of it all. but wellness is more so of the mental
Yes,
aspect and the mindset of everything.
absolutely.
Nice.
Yes.
How did you discover that fitness and wellness together um, impacted you in your healing?
Ooh, okay. It's been a battle. It's a struggle. Okay,
Okay, I
so what I've
understand.
what I've discovered is, so let's give an example, a really quick example. Grieving, it weighs on you physically. There's
Hmm.
been days, and there still are days where I cannot get up. Okay, so just say you have an ailment, whatever it be, you
Yeah.
you didn't did something, your knee going, a little bad for you, whatever, you have to get up. So it takes the mental to say, come on now, let's get up, let's get back strong. Let's get this laid together, and let's go out and get it. But then also when you work out, whatever it is, I walk for an hour a day and I'm really committed to that. But when I'm laying there, I'm telling myself, if I don't get up and walk, my mental, it's probably going to just be mediocre for today. But if I go out there and do that, I'm like headstrong. I can
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And how does engaging in exercise impact your mental health?
It's like it's the best, how do I say it? Euphoric high that you
Mm.
can get.
Yes.
Because when you're taking your body and you have the ability, and I always like to say it's a blessing.
Hmm.
It's really an awesome thing when you have the ability to move your body freely. So it just takes you away. People have their vices, rather whatever it may be, that takes you to the highest high naturally, organically.
Hmm.
Um, and your body loves you for it. That's the feeling that fitness gives.
Nice.
Yeah.
It does that for me as well.
It's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
It's I feel like it's my escape place. And
Yeah.
some people say, no, you have to actually deal with it. I feel like it is dealing with it, but at the same time, when I am lifting weights, I
Mhm.
feel like it quiets my mind. It gives me a second to breathe, slow
Mhm.
down the momentum of
Mhm.
stress, slow downs the momentum of self-doubt. It slow downs all that negative talk. And then that hour or whatever time, sometimes it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
That time that I'm in the gym, I really honestly feel like it gives me space to uplift myself.
Yes, and I
um
agree.
yeah, I'm constantly talking to myself saying you can
Mhm.
do this, one
Mhm.
more set,
Mhm.
talking over the form.
Mhm.
So it's a very powerful way of challenging your mind, but
Mhm.
also clearing everything out, just
Mhm.
just
And you
for a second.
surprise yourself sometimes,
You do,
doing things you
honestly.
didn't think you can do, or going longer than what you thought you could go.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So tell me about a little bit about your work, your social work, and how it relates to helping others heal with grief.
Okay. Children are my passion.
Children.
Children and mothers, they are my passion.
Hmm.
So for the past 9 years, I've worked for the state foster care system. I transitioned out of that, and most recently, the past 4 years or so, I became a home based case manager and a visitation facilitator.
Okay.
So, what I do is I take families and work on the reunification process with them. I have moms that have been in domestic violence situations, moms that have lost their jobs, moms that are recovering, um, drug addicts, things like that, and their kids witness these things. So
Yeah.
what I like to do is come in with my expertise and what I've been taught and known to do is give them the vices that they need. And I always throw in the physical part of it. And a lot of times they don't understand that connection. So I tell them, you have children, and children alike, you want to be well for your mom,
Hmm.
things like that. So sometimes when I work, we go out to the track and we walk and we do our case, studies that way.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, sometimes we go and we do different things where we can interact physically while
Hmm.
we're talking and putting our plan together. So,
Nice.
yes.
I was gonna ask, how do you recommend or how do you suggest women who may never thought about fitness in that way
Mhm.
to kind of relate it to healing? How do you talk to them? What kind of language do you use so that they understand like this has nothing to do really with
Mhm.
being a size two
Mhm.
or whatever
Mhm.
or the number on the scale? This has more to do with mindset and true healing.
Mhm. So I always tell them to, you can't see your inner, but you can see your outer.
Hmm.
You want that to measure up. If you don't like how you feel on the outside, a lot of the times what I've discovered is you don't love who you are on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good approach. So I tell them, and they're like, I never really thought of it that way. Well, yes, I tell them, take the time, find what I love most and what I've been most successful is. I say, what do you like to do? What did you like to do as a child?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to those childhood memories, things that brought you joy. Let's try it as an adult. Oh, I can't do that. I can't roller skate. I can't do cartwheels. By the way, I still go out and flip and do cartwheels. I do. And so I tell them, go out there, rediscover that. You will find that it gives you a really great feeling. And when you're feeling good, you can process more clearly, you can think more logically, and always let the two align. They will naturally align. So that's an approach that I take.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that they're just
So,
gonna naturally align. When you do what makes you feel good, it's gonna reflect on the inside.
it
Yeah.
really does. One day you look back and you say, "Oh wow, yeah."
Sometimes I tell people who are struggling to feel good on the inside, I
Mhm.
say just it doesn't have to be anything drastic,
Mhm.
like what you said. It could be going outside and doing a couple of cartwheels, you
Yeah.
know. It just find one little thing every day that will
Mhm.
put a smile on your face.
Mhm.
And for me, sometimes that's a donut. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
Honey, let's
lie.
talk about it.
Right. but seriously,
Mhm.
sometimes it's just finding one little thing, painting your nails even,
Mhm.
or getting up and taking a walk around beautiful nature and scenery.
I love
It's
nature.
just small things that can really put a smile on the internal face,
Yes.
on the soul.
On the soul. And I love music.
Hmm.
Hence Sunset Soul, a daughter's song. So music has been very therapeutic, excuse me, very healing for me.
Hmm.
So I tell people, you know the cliche saying, dance like no one's watching. I dance like no one's watching. Honey, I sing in the mirror. I do it all. And I'm serious. It's really therapeutic for me. So when I do that, listen to the music, play the songs, some are sad, some are happy, but ultimately the
Hmm.
feeling that I get, it's really rewarding and it pushes me into the next day. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Dance like no one's watching. Take note. Um, so do you primarily work with children and women? Do you also work with men as far as it relates to healing and dealing with that grief?
I have worked with very few men. It seems to be from my experience that men, just as from my experience, love to talk and heal through other men that have
Hmm.
had shared experiences. But taking note from a woman, just with the wellness part of things, I do let them know I can be of assistance to you. And I have helped definitely with eating habits, things
Hmm.
like that. Sometimes men don't even think about it. And I'm like, think about it. If you have a mate, you tend to eat what your mate eat.
Yeah.
You sit alongside, and things like that. So if you change your eating habits and behaviors, more than likely your mate's going to do the same and vice versa. So that's the area where I feel like I can grab their attention, mostly, mainly. And then when there's a domestic violence situation, I've had a few cases where the men, they really take in what I'm saying as far as the whole, you have a mom, you have a sister, you have daughters. So hearing it from another woman, that approach is effective.
Okay. You know what? Always, first of all, the light and the smile on your face to be and to have worked in social work for so
Mhm.
long, all the people that I've met, no offense, who's worked in social work, they do not look the happiest. They look
Yeah.
very sad, and I can imagine with the day to day work that and the things that they see, deal with. I bet some of the cases are unimaginable. That
Mhm.
what goes on with parents and their children. And one thing that I like that you said was we all face grief in
Mhm.
some way, shape, or form, whether it's losing a job, moving from your hometown to another city.
Absolutely.
Grief can look different in a lot of ways. How do you notice, or what do you think the difference is between grief in adults and grief in children? Because I imagine when they're taken from their parents, that's the sense of grief.
It is.
And when home life isn't the same, I
Yes.
imagine that they grieve. What does that look like with children?
Okay, so two totally different spectrums.
Okay.
So let's just say, as adults, um, we've been there in some way, shape, or form. So we kind of have a blueprint on how we're going to manage. With kids, it's all bets off.
Mhm.
So, kids, they just become very either introverted or extroverted. It's definitely a flip flop, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will notice a lot of things. Either they're really depressed, they gain the weight, they lose the weight, they go to school, they fight in school, um, they don't go to school, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
grades drop. It's all those things. Kids don't know how to manage their emotions. So a lot of times parents get that confused, you know, dealing with grief in different areas, you know, not just losing a parent. So that's what I noticed. They don't hold character to who they are. And
Mm-hmm.
then as adults, we know we can't go out here and just be like, "Ugh," you know,
Right.
behaving like a kid because we have a lot to lose. We're parents, you know, we have careers, we do community service. So what does that look like for us behaving in a way that a child, you know, behaves? So I feel that adults, we handle it much more, it's more contained. Hence why I have Sunset Soul. It's my way, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, going through grief.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to parents who may not know how to identify a child going through grief? Maybe they're just thinking they're acting up. And again, grief doesn't necessarily mean it has to come through by way of death, but just not having a present parent. What kind of recommendations would you give to parents dealing with a child experiencing grief?
I would say, and I live by this. Your intuition is your compass in life. So anything you do, um, take away the outside noise. Don't ask too many people initially. Let yourself feel
Mm-hmm.
what that thing is, what your emotions are telling you, and to know your kid. That means even if you haven't spent a lot of time, I feel like you still know your child. So you pay attention to that. And then I always say on the other side of that, there's help. Every state, there is a line that you can call and you can get resources and you don't have to self identify. So I always tell parents never be afraid to ask for help. I don't push spirituality on anyone. I'm a spiritual person. I love God. I'm a Christian woman. So when I connect and when I spot that in you, oh, it's go time.
Right.
We about to get in the
Yes,
Bible. We about to go now. What did the Lord say?
Yes.
So
Oh, I love it. What did the Lord say?
I never shy away from that, but I don't want to lose anyone to that. So I
Okay.
always say that in the universe or take what gives you strength and learn from. There's no one way.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a personal, I guess, not relationship with grief, but I have a friend. Well, one, I feel like I've experienced grief in different ways, but I think something that we don't talk about is losing people who are still here physically with us,
Yes.
but that connection and bond. I lost a friend because she was actually grieving, and she felt at that time I wasn't there for her. And I honestly didn't know how to be there for her. I felt like I kept picking up the phone and saying, "Do you need anything? What can I do? Are you okay?" And after a while, it felt like those questions were just, redundant.
Yes.
I felt that she needed more, but I didn't want to be too pushy or do too much. So I kind of, in a some sense, fell back as well too. Um, what are your suggestions for people supporting family, friends that are going through grief? Like, how can we do more besides just asking, "Are you okay today?"
Okay. Great question. I love that you asked that question because I'm going through it, and I've been through it. I lost my father as well and a lot of significant people. And I think just it's compounding. And that's why this is really hitting me very, very hard. So each experience
Yeah.
has been different. I have some of the same people in my life that was with me when I lost my father. And now I know what kind of works. So the first thing I would say, once again, whatever your intuition is telling you, let it lead you. So what I like to do is if you're going to send a text or if you're going to send a call, make a call, tell that person, I'm not looking for a response. I just want you to know that I care and that I'm thinking of you. Simple as that. Say what you need to say. Do what you need to do. I would say being overly pushy, meaning there's no timeline. If your friend or whoever, your loved one or whoever it is that you care about, if they're still in their day-to-day crying or it looks really bad from the outside looking in, do not pressure that person because it's it very may well be that's what they need to do, and then they snap out of it, and the rest of their day you calling them like, oh girl, I'm out here, I'm having a drink, or I'm working and on, and you be like, well, you were just a few hours ago, so you
Right.
can't judge,
Mhm.
because I always say sometimes I have bipolar moments, and with no disrespect to the bipolar community, I work with that demographic of people. I say it's just a really emotional roller coaster. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
So it's like you got to buckle up, get on the roller coaster with that person, and just take the ride. So sometimes there's not a lot that you can say. There's a
Yeah.
lot said in stillness
Yeah.
and being quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think even now I have another friend who has recently lost her sister.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's very tough for her, and it's very tough as a friend to watch her grieving.
Mhm.
Um, I want her to be happy, and like my love for her, want her to just be the same
Yes.
friend that I knew her to be. But I'm also realizing that when you lose certain people in your life, especially someone that close, it may change you. And I may not have the same friend that I had once
Right.
before. And so, with that, I'm approaching that situation, learning from the first situation that I had with a
Mhm.
previous friend, to just kind of be understanding, be so loving, non judgmental, and be ready for wherever this journey and this process take us together, because that's what I want to her to know as her friend, that I'm here no matter what.
Yes.
I'm here on the bad days when you want to be quiet, when you don't really want to talk that much. I'm
Yes.
also here on the days where you want to go out to kind of, take
Mhm.
your mind off of it.
Mhm.
And I'm here for everything in between.
Mhm.
So I do think that's interesting. You may not get the same person.
And I love that you said that,
Yeah.
because you don't get the same person. It's funny. I just had a conversation yesterday, and I told my friend, and as I tell my friends, you're not going to get the same Danielle. I would like to believe that you're going to get a better version,
Hmm.
but just brace yourself for what's to come.
Yeah.
And once I think you accept that, we always say people are in your life for a reason and a season. You're going to see if they're there for what reason, or if they're there for the entire season.
Yeah.
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 Um, so tell us about Sunset Soul again. How
Absolutely.
can is it available for purchase?
It will be available for purchase. We just set a date. It's going to be released in October. I'm trying to get it close to my mother's birthday because it's significant for me.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, the website is done. It's going live in the next 2 weeks. We just have to make sure everything is tightened. But yes, absolutely, it's going to be available. I think you will find when you go into it, it's very warming. It's very inviting. I didn't want it somber,
Mm-hmm.
although it's really, really sad. We don't have to walk around so sad and depressed, and lonely. There's a community of people out there. So there, eventually, once I build the community more, there will be resources out there for people, that want to dive a little more into, grief counseling and things like that. I am a wellness coach, so I can connect you physically and mentally as well. And then the color orange, when you see the color orange, that was one of my moms. She didn't necessarily have a favorite color, but she gravitated towards that color.
Mm-hmm.
And in the later part, she really loved it. And I noticed in a lot of photos it was orange. So orange, that's it. That's the color. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay. And is it a workbook? Like
So
not a self-help book, but like kind of a journaling book?
So it is at the end. So I tell my story. And what I did was I sped the story up to present to where she initially got ill.
Mm-hmm.
And up to her passing, it was my way of therapeutically grieving. So I had to get it out that way. So it shares our account of mother-daughter love story, and
Mm.
that's what I like to tell people. At the end, there is a short journal where there's questions asked. I take the lead. The questions that are asked, I answer them, and it's quite lengthy because I love to share. I want to get all this out to my community.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is an interactive journal, and it will be available for purchase on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, on my site, and that'll be soon to come as well. So I think going into it with an open mind, seeing what you can get from it, if it's daily inspiration or you need to go a little more heavy, it's going to be there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be there.
Nice. Okay. What advice would you give to others coping with mental stress, and how would they approach their fitness journey to heal? I know we kind of talked about that a little bit already,
Mhm.
um, but as it again as it pertains to like building yourself up, how do you go into that fitness with the thought of healing?
What I've come to realize, I'm just getting to this point. Own your grief. Don't deny it. It's here and it's not going anywhere. With that being said, you're still here. You have to take care of yourself. If you want to live, you've got to do the work. And you will be surprised when you get up, put one foot out the bed, the next one foot in the other, get your butt up, get to the gym or wherever it is, take them home videos. It's going to align. So mentally, I would say take your time, acknowledge that it's there. Because if you
Hmm.
anything that we deny, when you really think about it, it's not conducive to who we are.
Yeah.
Once we own it and accept it, then you can move forward with it. So I would say that's the number one takeaway with that. And then naturally, you have to be intentional,
Hmm.
um, and be consistent and want it. And if you don't want it, ask to desire it. And I think with that being said, I think everything, I'm big on alignment. You'll hear me say that a lot because it naturally aligns and you'll
Yeah.
you'll get there. You'll
Yeah.
get there.
I'm big on alignment too. Like
Yeah.
I'm big on being very intentional. So many people experience when they're going through grief and just difficult feelings in general.
Mhm.
They always say they're numb. They don't know how to approach it. They haven't even realized that they are grieving because of just, hiding those feelings away.
Yes.
What are some techniques or just some tips that you would
Mhm.
give to owning it and
Okay.
stepping into, you know, I am grieving. This is happening.
Okay. So I love your questions because it's everything that I'm currently experiencing. So
Hmm.
I would say to yourself, I've done hard things before. Simple as that. And you've gotten through hard things before, hard situations. The worst of the worst you've gotten through. So take yourself back to a space when you really remember that defining moment where everything changed.
Hmm.
I can't tell you what that is. That calls for a little soul searching, digging a little deeper. So that's one thing that I would say. I'm still really, really big on sharing with people that matter to you, where you feel safe. You want to be in a safe space. So have that good girlfriend, whoever it may be, if you're close with your children, if you have children, whoever your person is, and they're down for the ride. It don't matter what the day is. If you can go up one day, one down one day, if you can say one thing, change your mind one day to next, and not have them try to hold you accountable,
Hmm.
then I think that's a good tool. So use the people around you. And then I'm also an advocate of books, workbooks, self-help books, things like that. I'm still a paper person, very much so. So I still love to go into stores and purchase hard copies, find what works for you, whether it's something online or social media. I say use it for its good. There's a lot of good things out there on social media, on platforms. So instead of just surfing, without a goal, type in grief, people that are grieving, things like that. So those are some of the tools that I've used that is currently helping me.
Yeah.
And then also just find a way to smile. A lot of things are so cliche, but when you catch yourself and you're just thinking about it and it's feeling really gloomy, think of one positive thing that that person did for you or why you love them, and you're going to smile.
Yeah.
And it's just going to change the whole trajectory of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you said that, you're really into spirituality.
Yes.
And if someone ever talks about God, you're on it. Like you're gonna say, what the word say?
Absolutely.
Now, and I'm a God girl. You know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? So let's
Okay.
talk about it.
Let's talk
How do
about
you
it.
use your spirituality and religion and the word from God to heal as well?
Okay, so I am very, very heavy on meditation.
Hmm.
Meditating for me looks like getting up in the morning, reading a verse or two, not just out the Bible. I like to read just snippets of inspirational sayings from wherever it may be. If I read it and I like it, I'm going to deposit that. So I do that. I listen to my worship music. I know when my mom passed, I listened to the same song over and over and over. Because think about it, sometimes you have a different experience. You'll hear something one day, the next day it may click, but then you'll hear it another way. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so
Yeah.
I say get your good gospel music, inspirational music, whatever genre of music is for you, it's going to work. Those words and those songs are going to do it. And then talk out loud. I always say it's intimate, it's a personal relationship. And I say, I love the Lord, Father God, Jesus Christ, all that.
Yeah.
I always tell people I would rather believe in something so beautiful, so enlightening than not. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like with that thought process, it helps me. So if it helps me, I'm going to move along with it.
And your grief and your experience, how has that made you approach your wellness coaching and helping others in a different way or manner?
Okay, so I started my grief, um, taking it really serious while I was in the studio at Fit with Renee, because the studio changed my life, and there's no denying that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little snippet in my book
Okay.
about that, because a lot of women didn't know what I was going through, while I was working out and while I was training. And I actually was blessed to be Client of the Month. So I say, Miss July 2023.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
yes. So, but it was the hardest, the most intense thing that I have ever done. I'm telling you, in my entire life. Seriously, Renee, Tasha pushed me to the max.
Really?
They did, and my mind just expanded. I did things that I never knew I could do. So, with that being said, taking that, I have the power. I feel like I have the power to like tell you you can do it. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't think you can, you will do it, because I was that person. I still don't know how I did it, honestly. I
Yeah.
know it's one of those things you know, but you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's I really I'm coming at you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do it. And I have the experience.
Yeah.
I really do. Mentally, physically, we can do it, because the mental, you cannot get through anything that you're trying to train up for in that capacity without being mentally there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've had moments, especially in the gym, where kind of the same. Like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I got this done, but
Mhm.
somehow I managed to get it done.
Mhm.
And it's one, you're so proud of yourself when
Yeah.
you've accomplished things that you didn't know you were capable of. Two, it builds up something in you where you can come out of it even stronger,
Mhm.
because the next time I want to approach something that I may not have done before, or it
Mhm.
may seem scary,
Yeah.
I know, like, again, I've done
Yeah.
scary things
Yeah.
before, or
Yeah.
I've
You've done
approached
it
things
before.
that were hard before. So, and I've made it through. It might
Mhm.
have been tough. It might have been mentally challenging,
Mhm.
but I'm stronger this time going into that new journey than I was the last time.
Yes.
I've built up something.
Yes. And I don't want people to feel what I feel.
Yeah.
Because it's so sad. It is. But you find a way to get through it. So if I can catch you at a certain point in your grief and you don't have to go through some of those things, then job well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love the fact that you know the pain and the sadness that comes along with this, and
Mhm.
just for your heart to be in a place where you're saying, I don't want anybody else to feel this. this
Mhm.
is this is a lot. And I know you're giving all these tools and these different things. How are you making sure you're constantly feeding into yourself while also healing other people?
Because one thing I'm gonna do is take care of myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that day off from work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and eat the food.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna probably have the one meal. I'm not gonna do it in excess. I'm going to do the things that I want to do. That's being present in the moment. So I make sure I take care of myself. I have accountability with myself, and then on the other side, I do have, I think I have this app on my phone, my girlfriend and I, she suggested it, where you make sure you close out your ring circle every
Mm-hmm.
day. So I feel I'm held accountable. So I'm checking for him like, ooh, I'm here. Let me go ahead and get out. So I make sure that I do that as well. The same thing that I tell my clients, I make sure that I do, because I want to be able to tell them this is authentic. I've done it. And when they come with either an excuse or a reason or a doubt, or they have a no sayer, I've had it all, for the most part. So I want to live through it so I can tell you.
Yeah.
how to get
Leading
through it.
by example.
Yes.
That's the best way.
Yes.
All right. And I guess maybe one last question. How has your experience with grief influenced your your approach to and your making of Sunset Soul and the beautiful promised life?
Okay, so another great question. It hit me so hard in such a dark place, and because I'm a Christian, God doesn't want me to suffer.
Hmm.
He doesn't want that life for me, and I know that. It's taken some time to get there, and I'm still on a journey, and this will be my forever journey. But what I do realize is that I have to keep moving. I have to keep going. And I desire that now. I
Hmm.
don't know what I desired before then because everything, like you mentioned earlier, you're numb. Everything, the whole experience is a blur. And it hasn't even been a year for my mom,
Hmm.
so everything is still fairly new. But with Sunset Soul, it just came to me. It's like a sunset is just so beautiful. My soul felt so heavy. But then I'm like, I woke up one day and I was like, my mom's favorite saying was smile. And I was smiling. I'm like, Sunset Soul. I'm like, surely as your days get heavy, they're gonna get lighter. And
Hmm.
that's really my inspiration, and that's why I put those words together. I know Sunset Soul come in many forms for many people, but that's the meaning for me, And a daughter's song, I always sang. I always loved music. My mom would just join right in. You can be saying something, she'll finish it, not even knowing where we're going with that. So I think it's important for everyone to find the song in your loved one, whatever that may be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you define strength in the face of adversity?
Being here right now. No, really showing up.
Showing up.
Just simply showing up. You're gonna get the voices in your head. Can I do this? Why am I doing this? Should I do it? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. No, you don't let it dominate your thoughts. So you just really you show up. You know what you want to become thereafter. Like I said, I don't know. I'm sure my personality is going to change. I like to think it's definitely going to be for the better.
Hmm.
And as humble as I am, I realize now I have something to give. I don't care if I reach one person,
Hmm.
I have something to give. So that's how I show up in the face of adversity. And then you take your moments. I might go out of here and I might boo hoo, just be like,
Yeah.
but you need to know when to place it aside as long as it's therapeutic for you and healthy. Place it aside. Let's get it moving. Life goes on. Let's pick up the pace at your own pace, run your own race, and you'll have your strength in it.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. I appreciate you for being here today. I appreciate you for sharing your story, sharing your tips and techniques on
Mhm.
moving forward and moving through or past grief.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Mm.
It's definitely something that takes a community and support,
Yes.
and just knowing that you're not alone. So, thank you for Sunset
Thank you.
Soul. Thank you for being here on this podcast today. And thank you for healing others.
Thank you
You're
so much for
amazing.
having me. So
You're
are
amazing.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode with us. It has been amazing. I want you all to know that um, grief is not easy, it's not something that you have to deal with alone. There is a community, and there are plenty of people that will help you get through it if you are brave enough and willing to ask for the help. If you are someone on the opposite end and you're supporting someone going through grief, be patient. Understand that that person um, may not be the same that person that you met initially. Be willing to go on the journey with that person and be willing to accept the ups and downs that come with supporting a loved one going through grief. It's going to look different for everyone. But again, there's a community and there are people willing to help, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a wellness coach, whether it's a trainer. It's going to look different for everyone. But just know that we're all here to support you in those hard times. Thank you for tuning in to the She Strong podcast and having this conversation with us. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Stay strong, stay empowered, stay She Strong. Bye.
Thank you.